And I want you to expound on it just a bit. Why I ask is because in October of this year, the second lady, Dorcas Rigathi, really was on the fore, still is, I believe, in terms of getting empowerment program for boys. Talked about in terms of aiding in terms of finances, that is empowerment programs. Also talked about ways to see how best they could reduce the intake of alcohol and drug abuse amongst boys. So then when you talk about redefining, when you talk about they're already there, they've always been there, but then how can we shift the conversation and change the narratives? When you look at such programs such as this, also just coming from the overall, head bodies, could this be aiding in assisting to just see how best you can alleviate some of these issues and problems?
I feel the program is good with the second lady, and in the spirit of redefining the conversation. The conversation should be around power. How are you using your power and authority as a man? Because that is not being taken away from them. As I said, we are still in patriarchal society. So that is the entry point. How are you using your power? Toxic masculinities, abuse of this same power, because that is what is leading to issues around FGM, because it's abuse of power, abuse of authority, issues around gender-based violence, where men seem to be the perpetrators, abuse of power, toxic masculinity, and what they feed themselves. And what you need to know, Doreen, is that men call out on men, just like women call out on women. It's easy for a man to listen to a man than a man listening to a woman, unless they are partners, for example, especially in a home setup. But men tend to call out on men, and they get to listen to each other. There's a Swahili word that says wanachocheana. They get to, hype each other around, this needs to be done. In Twitter, there is Masculinity Saturday. If you hear what men say, and if you can just have such platform, for example, being platform for, encouraging better use of power and lack of abuse of power, then we will get to see change. So such programs are there, but as I said, we really need to redefine. Alcohol, just like you had already said, it's one of the enablers of gender-based violence, because you cannot make informed decision when you're intoxicated, for example. So if we can have discussions around consequences of this, but then focus on power dynamics, I feel we will be gearing towards the right direction. So the conversation should not be women have been given a portion A. As men, we need A2 or A3 out of this big portion. The conversation will be women have been given A, but you men, you've been having B for a very long time. So how do we merge and ensure that these things complement each other rather than competing? Because apart from just gender issues around men and women, we appreciate that we are diverse in terms of our sexual being, sexual nature, between male and female. So there is some sense of them being different as being different, and we also have to acknowledge that. So if we are at the table, we are talking about complementing vis-a-vis competing against each other.